On today's episode of Axe Hacks, we're going to be talking about the Mission Engineering EP1-KP. All right, so Chris, thanks for being back on Axe Hacks. Last time you were here, we were talking about the Keith McMillan SoftStep. Today we're going to be talking about the Mission pedal, which is a little bit different approach to controlling the Kemper. What have you heard about the Mission?
I've heard a lot of great things about the Mission pedal, especially because it's been specifically made for the Kemper Profiler. So I'm really excited to try that out, something that's like tuned in exactly for the Kemper and that has that analog feel. It looks super solid and simple. It's basically one, two-part jack and then right into the back of the Kemper, and that's it. It's a super easy setup for someone who just wants a wah pedal or an expression for volume or any of the other type of effects that you might need for that. So I'm curious to see how much more natural this will feel.
Cool, awesome. Well, Chris has prepared another demo video for us. We're going to go into that and see what he thinks afterwards. Well, Chris, thanks so much for another awesome song. What did you think of the Mission pedal?
First off, of course, I love coming on to Axe Hacks and jamming with, the Chris Army. And it was a really great experience using the Mission EP1-KP. Again, I cannot stress enough that this is actually designed for the Kemper. So its pod is tuned to do the whole full range of wah and, again, expression, modeling for this. And it was great. It felt like the wah that I'm used to. It clicked on and off, and when in the back position, it went into the tuner mode, which again, it's always great to have the tuner show up at, any way you can need it. And if you're using, a wah during your solo, you can actually still tune your guitar.
Right.
In a really tight situation. Again, it's simplicity. It works just like a wah. You click it on, you use it, or a volume pedal, and you click it right off, and then it's off. And for those who don't need a lot of different effects, they're just looking to add one expression type thing for their rig, this is what you're going to be going for. It plugs into the back of the Kemper easily and allows you to get right on stage.
Yep. Awesome. Well, Chris, thanks again. Now I'll show you guys exactly how to get the Mission pedals set up to work with your Kemper how you want it to. Okay, so I'm going to go over two methods that you can use to connect the Mission pedal to your Kemper. The first being a direct 1/4 inch connection, the second being to route it through an external MIDI controller. So the first method is super straightforward. We just have the two outputs, 1 and 2 right here, that are going to be routed to the switch 1 and 2 inputs right here. As far as the type of cable goes, what I've been using that seems to work just fine is the twin HOSA TRS connections. On Mission's website, it says that the output 2, which is for this switch right here, you are supposed to use just a regular TS connection. It's true that it'll work with a TS connection, but that isn't to say that it won't work with a TRS connection. The reason why it says to use a TS is because it is just a mono switch, not stereo, whereas these are stereo cables, so these will work just fine. So we're really straightforward, just going to go output and output 2, and then just match them up. Orange is going into the first one, switch 1, and switch 2. All right, now we'll spin the Kemper around and go through the menu settings. Okay, so getting the Mission pedals set up in the Kemper's menu system is actually really straightforward. We're going to start by going to System right here, and it's going to land you on page 1 out of 9. We want to toggle over to page 4. There we go. And now you can see we have basically the pedal 1 type adjustment, pedal 2, and then our potentiometer that represents the value that the pedal is inputting. So if we sweep the pedal through, we'll actually see those LEDs light up. And if we take it all the way back, since it's set to volume, it's going to go straight into the tuner, which is really convenient. So if we put this back up, we get our menu back. And if I change this from volume to, say, wah, there we go. So right now we're on wah type 1. And the difference between wah type 1 and type 2, you can see now we're on type 2. If I pull the pedal back, bring it back up, and if you keep an eye on the value LEDs, they shoot up pretty fast at the beginning, and then not so much towards the end of the pedal stroke. So that is going to be much more similar to kind of an old school, kind of like crybaby wah. And if we pull this back over to wah type 1, that's going to be a much more linear, kind of, I would even say, more modern type of wah sweep. And so now moving over to pedal 2, you can see if we scroll through these, right now it's set to toggle stomp A on and off. So stomp A is on, and if we push our switch down, we can see that A turns on and off. And if we go through this, we'll see that some of these, right now, you might not be able to see it on the camera, but just above where it says pedal 2, it says switch mono. That is going to be the type of functionality that will work with the Mission pedals. Some of these, if we get to them that are, say, stomp X and modulation, it'll say switch stereo. All that this is going to do with a mono switch like the Mission is it'll toggle one of those. I believe it toggles the second one, so this would only toggle modulation on and off and not do anything with the stomp X slot. So you want to make sure that it is set to one of the switch mono functions for pedal 2. So that's pretty much it for the direct 1/4 inch connection. Now let's get into setting it up with a MIDI controller. Okay, so for those of you that are awesome and have decided to subscribe to my channel, or those of you that are just swinging by again, you'll probably recognize the SoftStep Advanced Editor from one of my previous videos where I was talking about the SoftStep 2. That is going to be the MIDI controller that we're going to be hooking the Mission up to today. And while I am hooking it up to that controller specifically, I'm going to try to cover everything so that it's applicable kind of no matter what MIDI controller you're hooking the expression pedal up to. So the first thing we're going to want to start with is calibrating the output of the expression pedal to the MIDI controller. So here in the advanced editor, we're going to go to settings, and then I'm going to reset the calibration. So now you can see the default linear calibration. And when I click on start, I'm just going to rock the pedal physically back and forth over and over again until it's done calibrating, and now the software has a better idea of exactly what the potentiometer in the Mission pedal is spitting out into the SoftStep. So we're going to close this, and now the next step is we basically need to make sure the MIDI controller is recognizing the input from the Mission pedal. So here we can see that I have my stomps A through D assigned, and then stomp X, and I have stomp X set up as my wah pedal right now. So I'm going to go into the settings, and I'm going to add another data source, and under source, it looks like it actually kept these from when I set it up the first time. So you want to make sure that source is set to pedal, and I'm going to toggle this on. You can leave pretty much everything in its default settings. Under message type, you want to make sure that it's set to CC, or continuous controller, and CC channel is going to be set to 1. This is actually dictated by the Kemper itself, and I'll show you here in a minute where in the menu you can find that information. And then for the output port, we want to make sure this is set to SoftStep expander rather than SSCOM. So we're going to leave that. And then, always very important, you want to make sure to save it and then send to SoftStep so that those changes actually take effect. Okay, so now we're back here with the Kemper, and really quick, I'm just going to show you how to make the connection from the Mission pedal into your MIDI controller. It's probably going to be something fairly similar to the SoftStep, where this guy actually right next to the USB inputs, it has 3.5 millimeter. And all of these foot controllers actually come with an adapter that goes from 3.5 to 1/4 inch. And so I basically just moved the output 1 1/4 inch that we looked at earlier to this input right here. So with that all set up, let's go into the menus. So again, we're going to go into System right here. And going from page 4 where we left off last time, we're going to skip over and go to page 6. So 6 is actually where you can find the information that I was talking about earlier, where it tells you what CC number to assign your expression pedal input to. So right here is CC, or again, continuous controller channel number 1 is set for expression, and that's just kind of a preset in the Kemper's menu system. So now we can see, if we rock this back and forth, that's going to change the value for that top bar. And so now any pedal that you can assign in the Kemper that recognizes an expression input will recognize the input that's going through the Keith McMillan. And that pretty much wraps up what I've got for today. Be sure to check out more details on the EP1-KP at missionengineering.com. This particular pedal is sold exclusively through Sweetwater, so check them out at sweetwater.com. As always, my name is Chris. This has been Axe Hacks. If you enjoyed the information, go ahead and click subscribe. I'll see you next time.